Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Today, I have my good friend Jason Jones here from Kansas City. He just got back from a 7-day Caribbean sailing trip, and he's going to be with us at Investor Fuel next week. And then right after that, he's going to check on a house he's building in Belize. Has a great business up in Kansas City that he's been growing rapidly over the past few years. And today, we're going to talk about building a lifestyle business that allows you to live the life that you want to live. Professional real estate investors know that it's not really about the real estate. In fact, real estate is just a vehicle to freedom. A group of over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors from across the country meet several times a year at the Investor Fuel Real Estate Mastermind to share ideas on how to strengthen each other's businesses, but also to come together as friends and build more fulfilling lives for all of those around us. On today's show, we're going to continue our conversation of fueling our businesses and fueling our lives. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Jason, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate
That's
it.
okay. Hey, we should start doing blooper reels on the show.
Yeah, right.
Now, good to see you, my friend. And I'm excited to see you next week at Investor Fuel. So, hey, I'm really glad we're going to talk about this topic today. And of course, always good to see you too, because, as you know, I like to travel. I like to do things. I very much am kind of at a lifestyle, I guess a point in my business where I'm lifestyle based. Like I try to do things that allow me to, do what I want to do, experience life, spend time with family, travel, and do those things. I know you're on the same path.
Yeah, I try to be. For a lot of my years, I never traveled before.
Yeah.
I got into the real estate business, and it kind of allowed me to have the finances to do so. Take those crazy trips that like bucket list items that you never thought in a million years you'd be able to experience. And I've done many of those just in the last few years of my career has been like full steam ahead. I've been traveling like crazy. I'm gone 6 to 8 times a year, and it's all because of real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. You and I have some similar, backgrounds. I just kind of didn't grow up with a lot. I mean, I literally never, I don't think I got on a plane until I was like 20 in my whole life. And, My family didn't travel. Like if we did, it was like fill the van and drive down to Pensacola Beach where my grandma lives. And that was kind of our family vacation, but there was not like this, like, we weren't checking off bucket list items, right?
No.
I mean, that's just not how it was, but that's how it is now.
Yes, I'm very thankful and blessed to be able to say that,
Yeah.
And I'm glad I can take my kids on trips like that I didn't get to experience when I was a kid. So it makes it, I hope I'm creating a lot of memories for them, for their, future and their kids and their family.
Yeah, no doubt. So tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in real estate investing.
Well, I was back in the early 2000s. I was in the mortgage business. Did that for a while. Opened up an office with another guy and did well. It just wasn't my type of business. It was really cutthroat. There was just a lot of shady people that were in the business that for some reason, I kept bumping into. And I finally said, I'm going to go find a 9-to-5 job. I did pharmaceuticals for 10 years. And I got just burnt out on being behind the wheel and driving,
pharmaceutical sales.
Yeah. So a friend of mine turned me on to wholesaling. I had no idea what it was. I learned, basically we did like 4 or 5 deals together, and then he split the money, and we, that's how he got his pay. And then I learned everything from him. In about 6 months, I took off and did my own. Went through a lot of challenges and obstacles. And I was working out of my house until about April of this year, believe it or not, doing about 85 to 90 deals a year. And now we've got 113 on the books. So we've grown. I've added probably 5 people to my team, which has been a huge help. It's kind of allowed me to do a lot more of the things that I want to do, which is one of them is travel. But the other one is to spend more time with my kids. Before I would work at home, it'd be from 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock at night. If the phone rang, I answered it. My phone doesn't ring very much. and I come in the office at 10, I leave at 3, and I'm home before my kids get home from school. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That right there by itself is huge. I'm a single dad with 2 kids, and they're both teenagers. So it's important to be in their life as much as you possibly can and lead in the right direction at this age.
Yeah. So talk about that. A lot of real estate investors, a lot of successful real estate investors face this challenge. You get to a point to where you make more money than what you need to. It's not about survival anymore, right? It's about you start to have this. You have this path to go down. Like, do I want to like dramatically grow my business through my own efforts, which is hard, right? I know we're going to talk about how you built your team out and put in systems and processes, but like you said, you're doing everything early on, and we all did, and or if you depending on where you are, you might still be doing that if you're listening right now. But you can't, at the end of the day, you have 24 hours in a day. You can't grow that, right? And so what some people do is they never get out of that, though. They just work themselves to the bone. But the problem is, and they might do well financially, but they can't really enjoy their lives because, like, if they can't go on vacation because the business stops, right? And that's, that's not a business. That's basically that's basically you own a job, or the job owns you, maybe, right?
Well, not only that, you burn out. I mean, I'm guilty of that on just about everything I've done in life. If I do too much of it for a long period of time, I kind of lose interest, and really it becomes a job, not something that you want to do, Right. For me, when I started this business, it was more of a passion because I like, seeing an ugly duckling turn into a beautiful, little house for somebody to live in for the next 30 years.
Yep.
I was flipping a lot of houses. I was buying a lot of rentals, and I got inundated with, investors from all over the country, wanting me to do the rehabs. I was working myself to the bone, and I never really realized until my daughter came to me and says, "Dad, we like all the great things that we get to do and all the fun things that we have, but we never get to spend time with you." And so when she came to me and said that to me, this was back in, I think, January of this year, it just made me think about things completely different. And now that I've got a team in place, and I'm still working on getting that team in place, that's a struggle. Every day is a struggle with different personalities and opinions. So you got to kind of balance out, your team and they say you don't really have a business unless you can walk away for 6 months, come back, and it's doing the same, if not better. And I'm still trying to figure that one out myself. I'm not all the way there, but I'm really, really close. So I went on that trip last week, and there's really one thing in my business that I do that nobody else does, and that's review every single lead that comes to the door. And I don't really need to do that anymore. I got my people trained now, and I learned last week that I need to pass the baton on somebody else to do that. It's a really, small task to do every day, but it's 10 to 15 leads a day, and that takes up time that I could be spending on growing the business or opening up other markets. Yeah.
Yeah. Or God forbid, we talk about this all the time. God forbid, enjoying your life more, right?
Right.
I mean, that's why we're doing this, right? Sometimes
we do it.
When we're in business sometimes, and when real estate folks get around each other, sometimes it's easy to talk about how hard you hustle or how hard you work. And it's like, and the thing is like, none of us really aspire to be the hardest hustler our whole lives, right? But it's like when we get around each other, we act like that. It's a little bit of ego or a little bit of whatever it might be. And then, I think we talk about this in Investor Fuel a lot. It's like, well, it's not really about that. It's about how many times can you go sailing in the Caribbean, or how many times can you, right. And your business still runs itself. I mean, I think the badge of honor for a guy like you, it sounds like you're shifting right now. And, there's some people in our group, and I've been kind of focused on this for a while. It's like, the badge of honor is not how hard can you hustle anymore. It's like, how long can my business operate without me?
Right.
Right. It's like, when I come back from a vacation, honestly, my business usually does better when I'm gone because I'm not in there screwing stuff up. And it's like a pride thing of like, wow, man, the team was able to handle that, and I wasn't even there. That's just cool.
Well, and the other thing for me is seeing the people that I've chose to be on my team become successful, with the training and the systems and the processes in place. Pretty much anybody can do our business. I mean, that's a known fact, right? But it takes a certain type of person to be able to do it consistently every single day to make things happen. And I'm just thankful that I have a team in place that I can depend on, that I can trust with my business, that I can leave for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks, and not really worry about it. That by itself is financial freedom, in my opinion.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And it's great to build a team around people that are financially incented and have they get some pride over operating. You probably have some people like this on your team that they pride themselves by not bothering you, right? I mean,
yeah, they always say, "I'm sorry to bother you." The first thing they say, I'm like, "Wait a minute, I love when you call me because that means we're doing more business, or you got a question for learning." So yeah, that's definitely true. I would agree with that.
So let's talk about some of one thing I want to kind of clarify here is you've got some really cool stuff going on. I know you're building a big house down in Airbnb that I already know I'm a future tenant. So, and I don't know, like not necessarily long term, but
all of your listeners are future tenants.
Yeah. But let's just talk about like what happened, because I know when you started your business, like it was like transitioning from jobs, and like, when you're first trying to make it, it's more about survival, right? It's like building this, you're involved in everything. At some point there, your kids are getting older, and you just have this shift of like, I need to be living my life more than my business needs to support my life. So kind of talk about like that moment when that happened, or what kind of drove that.
Well, what drove it initially was my goal of having 50 rental properties paid for free and clear, paying me, rent every month, mailbox money, right?
Yeah.
I got to 25 and realized that I don't know that I'm a great landlord. I don't like dealing with the day-to-day operations of maintenance calls, repairs. And even though before I sold my properties recently, I had a property manager in place, but it was still dealing with those issues of 25 different people, 25 different opinions, 25 different, excuses of why they couldn't pay their rent or whatever the case may be. And I decided that, I'm going to condense and minimize the risk that I have, and invest in a property that I want to use in the future, and be able to, create memories with my family and friends.
Yeah.
So I decided to buy a property in San Pedro, Belize, and we've named it Casa Next to Sea. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. And we're building it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath beach house with an infinity pool. We're going to be Airbnb-ing it out. It's going to be a full service venue, basically. Comes with a boat, captain, chef, a maid, snorkeling, scuba diving, fishing, fly fishing, island jumping, you name it, whatever you want to do. And hopefully I'm struggling with the fact of how much do I charge for that, but that's kind of a small problem to have. But we're in the building process right now. We should be finished I'm hoping by April 1st. If not, it'd be completely done and ready to go by May 1st. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. And the reason why I did that is because, again, from day one from this business, I kept on investing everything that I made in the company right back into the business, other than my living expenses and a little bit of travel. And I didn't feel like I had wanted to reward myself until I felt like I hit these goals that I put in place for myself. And so every time I hit a goal, I would reward myself with either another rental property or a new car and write a check for it, or take my family on a sailing trip for 7 days in the middle of the Caribbean and enjoy life and experience things that we've never gotten to do. So every time I hit a goal, like I said, I reward myself. So that's kind of the way that I've trained myself to be able to achieve the things that I wanted in life. And I'm still working to do that. I think
no doubt.
I still want to retire in 5 years, but I don't really think that's going to happen. I don't think I can, but I'm going to slow down a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think what happens is when you start, we're so focused on investing in our business, investing in assets like real estate, obviously, that sometimes you hit a point where you're like, I need to invest in my mental health a little bit. Right.
Happiness.
And it's like, the truth is those little trips, those things you're doing, like at least for me, they re-energize me. Like I get away, I'm able to, because when I'm in town, when I'm in the office, I don't escape mentally. Like my mind is always on the business, and that's just who I am. And that's why I don't know that I could ever retire, like sit around and do nothing. That's not me. So it's like, well, what if part of what I do is escape and do things, and that rejuvenates. It gives me a chance to think about how to, make small changes in my personal life. Could be health things or whatever, but it's also just this mental refresh of kind of getting recalibrated and coming back reinvigorated to go take it to the next level. I think we need those breaks. And so there's probably no better investment you can make as an entrepreneur, I think, than in yourself.
I agree 100%. Like, just coming back from this trip 7 days ago, and I travel a lot. So this trip is really fresh on my mind. So I keep reverting back to it.
Yeah.
But when I came back into the office, everybody saw the fire in my eyes, in my bones, like I was literally ready to take on the world all over again. But before I left, I was ready to check out, and just say, just throw in the towel and say, what, I fought the fight. I just need, those things are important in life. And I think when you work hard, the motto says you work hard, you play hard. And I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
You can't, awesome. If you're not having fun doing what you're doing, what's the point of doing it?
No doubt. So let's talk a little bit. You talked about the people, the power of the team. Maybe you could just take another minute to say, because I know you've been through some ups and downs with people. You haven't necessarily told me that, but I just know that that's what happens, right? So I already know it's like I know the answer to that already. But talk a little bit about, maybe just for like a minute, the like any tips you've learned on finding the right people and avoiding the wrong people.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I went to my first Investor Fuel meeting. I thought my business was solid as a rock. When I left that first meeting, I literally came back to my home and I said, you know what? I'm making fundamental changes that are going to help me be a better person, do more deals, and provide the help for my team. So I've learned a lot of things from the Investor Fuel groups that I've attended, and I love them. They by far have changed my business just in the last 8 months, 9 months. Choosing the right people. I don't even look at resumes anymore. Like, anybody can write a resume, right? The way I choose people to work for me is the DISC assessment, number one, because they can't lie on it, right? I mean, if they can, it's going to throw things really completely off. And then once I look at the DISC assessment, then I look at their resume if they fit the job description that I'm looking for them, and then I'll bring them in. But choosing the right people, anybody can say anything to make it sound great, but really proof's in the pudding. And I try to hire people that don't have much, that are looking for that opportunity for that one time in their life they feel like they deserve. And they prove it, in the interview. And I really, within 3 minutes of meeting somebody, I can tell if they're going to be a good fit for my team or not. It's called the gut instinct, Sometimes your gut is wrong, but you learn from that mistake. You're like, okay, well, maybe my gut was telling me that, I was right, but my mind was like, they may not be a great fit. So I listen to my gut more than my brain, but, it's a crapshoot. I mean, finding good people nowadays is really hard. And when you find them, it's good to pay them well, so you can keep them, because somebody else down the road is willing to pay them more if you don't.
Yep.
So you can ask any one of my team members if they feel like they get fairly treated on their pay, and I can assure you that every single one of them will tell you yes.
Yeah. And the interesting thing for me too, and you probably have experienced some of this, is because I'm money motivated. I'm driven by money mostly. But there's a lot of people that are out there. It depends on the role. Like, you want your salespeople to be motivated by money, typically. But there are administrative roles. There's some roles in our business where people, they want to be paid fairly and all that. But sometimes what they really want is to feel like they belong, like
right.
to feel appreciated, right? It kind of depends on everybody. People are motivated by different things, right?
Oh, everybody's has their own motivation. Just like, in my organization, though, everybody gets paid on production. So if we all win, if the sales side wins, then the disposition side wins. And then also my admin people win. And I pay everybody based on how many deals we close. Some of them get paid a salary because they don't get paid, commission. And then they get a bonus on every deal that's closed. So everybody feels like they're a part of the team, because everybody's striving for the same thing. Let's get as many deals as we can close by the end of the month. So that's kind of the way I've approached it. Whether that's good or bad, I don't care. It's the way I feel it's right. And I feel that my team, is motivated by money as well. I mean, I think most of us are motivated by money, or the effects of money. What does money give you? A sense of security, a home, food, that kind of thing. So
yeah. Awesome. So I know you've gotten to a point now, you and I talked about this, and I felt this, I've been coaching and mentoring for about 10 years now, but I would say really over the past few years that I kind of discovered, or I just kind of an epiphany hit one day, that more than anything, I like changing people, helping people change their lives with the knowledge that I have. And right. And I know you're at that point now where your business is you're crushing it in Kansas City. You want to expand, and you're like, well, maybe the way to expand is to branch out to other markets and kind of do it with and through people that you can help build their business too. So talk a little bit about kind of how you got to that point, I guess, in your business and your life, and then maybe just share a couple minutes about what you're doing.
Well, they say, the more you give, the more you receive. And it's very true. Like, I've ran across some people within the Investor Fuel Group. Before, I was really, really tight with all my, trade secrets and what I do and how many deals I'm closing and what my, marketing strategy is and what kind of marketing I'm doing. But I've learned that the more I give away, it doesn't matter, what I'm doing, because I can tell you what I'm doing. You have to implement it in your business to be able to do it the way that I'm doing it. So I just like helping people, and I want to grow my brand. It's kind of a twofold. One, I'm looking to expand my brand in other markets. It's a strong brand. I feel like it can compete with some of the big guys. At the same time, I want to help change people's lives. So, for maybe some of your listeners that they're just getting started, or they have been doing deals but don't know how to take it to the next level, I would love to be able to share my knowledge, my expertise, show my systems and processes, and be able to not only grow my brand in other markets, but to help people succeed. Some people are I can guarantee you, I was there, where you're right on the edge of disaster or feast or famine.
Yeah.
And I was there, just like probably everywhere. Every person in the real estate business has started, aside from a few. But I would just love to be able to share my knowledge, because I feel like for me, I've gotten to that level in my business to where I'm financially free to do whatever the hell I want to. Now, God forbid something happens tomorrow. I hope I'm going to be the same person I am today that I am tomorrow, and I truly feel that way. But I just think that giving back now to change people's lives, because I came from nothing, and I don't feel successful because of the business that I'm in. I feel successful because I'm doing the best I can for what I've learned in this business to be able to portray in my life and my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with my direction in my business. Is we're going to keep crushing Kansas City. We've opened up an office in St. Louis. They're just getting started, and they're coming on board pretty strong. We got actually some commercials starting today, matter of fact. So we're excited about that. And we're looking to expand in pretty much any market that we can, aside from a few that we don't really want to be in, like the major markets, like New York, LA. Those kind of markets aren't really my thing. I wouldn't know what to do with them if I entered them, but I'm not saying I wouldn't. But yes, we're definitely looking to expand our brand.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's a way to give back. And, what I found is, I've done a lot of coaching over the years. And then when I started to do some programs where we're also partners on deals, and like, we're tied together, like my success is dependent upon their success.
Oh yeah.
Type of stuff that I know you're working on. Like it changed everything, right? It's like on one hand, not that there's anything wrong with programs where the coach, you pay for coaching and even if you fail, that the coach still wins. I know that sounds bad, but the truth is in most instances, when I've had students that failed, they usually are like, it wasn't you. Like, I just can't get out of my own way, or job gets in the way, health gets in the way, stuff happens. Right. But I think when you have that kind of alliance of like, hey, we're sinking and swimming together, then the dynamic just changes. Right. I mean, I'm all for helping people, and I do everything I can to help people, But as an entrepreneur, I also know that if I have a vested interest in the success, like financially, and there's a business case behind it, like, you just tend to perform a little bit differently, act a little bit differently, right?
Sure. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. In as many situations as you can create that are win-win in business is a great thing.
Yeah, it's definitely that's the way that I want to do business, is everybody wins. Teaching somebody the business and actually them doing it are two different things. You can teach anybody the basics of, real estate. Are they going to implement that? Are they going to be held accountable? Are they going to get constant training? Are they going to be, on a phone call when something goes wrong, if they don't know what to do? Those kind of things are important, especially if you're new or you're wanting to take your business to the next level and be financially free and have a team like I do that you can walk away from, for a week to 2 weeks, a month, whatever, come back and it's still rocking and rolling,
Yep.
And it just goes to show that everybody wants to be that guy. It's a matter of how much work they want to put into it.
Right. That's right.
And like I said, you can teach anybody the business. It's a matter if they're going to implement it on a daily basis.
That's exactly right.
And that's what I think will make the difference between, other programs out there and what we're offering, which is basically a one-on-one, partnership with each one of our locations to maximize the potential of every single deal.
Yep. Awesome. Well, Jason, I was hoping real fast you've been a member of Investor Fuel for a little while now. We have our meeting coming up next week. Of course, by the time this gets published, this will get published while we're at Investor Fuel, so next week. But,
awesome.
Would you mind just kind of sharing a testimonial of what the group has meant to you? You came in, you were doing a lot of business and had some preconceived notions about what the group was like, but I know just based off of what you've said that it was a different experience than what you expected, and maybe it's kind of helped you in some ways that you didn't see. But would you mind just kind of sharing your thoughts on Investor Fuel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I started, I would, like I said, I was very scared to share anything that I experienced in my business, any of the techniques or the marketing strategies or the systems, the process or anything. But the first meeting I went to, like I said earlier in the podcast, I was blown away. Like, I completely changed my business on the way back. I couldn't even fall asleep on the plane. It was a late night. I had a red-eye flight. And I seriously sat on my computer and made a plan, and I implemented that plan the very next day of what I was going to do to change my business. And we've increased our business so far this year about 20% just by being a part of the Fuel family. And that's not including the discounts that I've received, the mentorship from you, Stinson, and everybody in the Platinum Group has been instrumental in making my business a lot more successful than I had it before.
That's amazing. And you say 20%, but that's on a base of, you said this year so far, we're only 3/4 of the way through the year, you've done 115 deals. So that's you're saying that maybe being a part of Investor Fuel has helped you do an extra 20, 25 houses a year this year.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's no doubt I've done more deals because of Investor Fuel. Now I can monetize that for you by the meeting next week and let you know. Yeah. Exactly where I was at the day that, we go to that meeting last year. And that's the difference. I'll be honest with you. We're changing our strategies because of people that are in Investor Fuel and doing things that I never even thought of doing, like before this year, I'd never even done a voicemail drop. I never did a text message. I never did anything like that. And, we've been crushing it, since we were introduced to that. And to be quite honest with you, I was just doing, more of a shotgun approach, and now we're dialing it in. Our cost of marketing has reduced by almost half of what we were spending 12 months ago today.
That's amazing. Yeah. And it just shows the power of, I know you said that I've spent some time with you and helping you through some things, and I'm obviously always willing to do that and appreciate that. But the real power is in the room. It's just the people that are around there that are sharing ideas and opening up about what's working. I know you've shared some strategies of what's working well for you that people have adopted. And it's just this kind of circle of helping one another, and all boats rise, right?
And all of us kick ass at the same time. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I love the group. I feel like it's my family. I can lean on anybody. I can call anybody. They answer the phone. They answer my emails. text messages. I mean, they're always checking up on you, making you accountable. I love it. And it's one of those things that I don't know what I was doing before.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So I appreciate you allowing me to be in the group. I know it's a select group of people that you want in there. And I much appreciated, and I'm glad to help contribute any way I possibly can.
Of course, buddy. That's awesome. Hey, so if folks want to learn more about what you've got going on, you got a bunch of expansion going on, you're working on some really cool things. Where should they go to find out more, to maybe connect with you?
They can reach out to me. I'll give you 3 different ways. housemax.com. That's housemax, all one word, .com. Or you can reach out to me personally at jason@housemax.com. or 816-506-0634 is my direct cell.
Awesome, man. And if you don't answer right away, you might be sailing in the Caribbean or something.
I might be in Central America finishing up my project in Belize for sure.
Yeah. Cool, buddy. Well, hey, thanks so much for sharing some time with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on board. This is my first podcast, and I hope to do some more.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, great to see you. I'm going to see you again in just a few days. So looking forward to catching up some more, my friend.
Awesome, man. Take care of yourself.
Awesome. And everybody, hey, thanks for joining us today. If you haven't, we've been doing the Investor Fuel Mastermind show this whole year. And I interview really experts from across the industry, and they all happen to be members of the Investor Fuel Mastermind. So they have amazing things to share, amazing strategies and stories to hopefully help inspire you. If you haven't already subscribed on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, YouTube, anywhere where you could possibly subscribe. I'd love it if you subscribe and give us a positive review if you got some value out of today. Of course, you can watch all of our shows or get access to all of these on investorfuel.com or flipnerd.com. So we'll see you on the next show. Are you an active real estate investor? If so, and you want to latch on to the power of surrounding yourself with over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors, all committed to building stronger businesses and living richer, fuller lives, you should jump on a call with us to learn more about Investor Fuel. Simply visit investorfuel.com to get started.